Hey kids, what's happening? Happy Friday night. We have Crafty Chris already in the house. What's going on, girl? It's been a week. You and me both know that. It's been a week and I just got in from running around with my head chopped off after work, and it's time to talk Kouri Richins. It is time to talk about the Utah mom gone wild. Oh, hey, honey. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Um, yeah, so I had to go to the barber shop, which we were there for like 2.5 hours, which is fine because I don't bring him anywhere else. So we sat there and played on our phone till it was our time. And Kay did amazingly. And we got home, and now it's time for this. Yes, what's up? Kouri Richins is what's up, Scott. Utah mom gone wild. Why do I feel like in the past couple of years, Utah has exploded with true crime? Between Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt. Hi Debbie, good to see you, mama. Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Frankie. We had Lori Vallow. We have Shanna Gardner, who also pulled a Kouri Richins and her husband, right? I believe that was out of Florida, and Jose Baez, Casey Anthony's lawyer from way back when, is her attorney, if I'm correct, Crafty Chris. I know you would know that one. Yeah. It's the water. I mean, it's something. It's something. I'm not saying it's Mormons, but that state is mostly Mormon. And okay, Debbie Blair knows. So Jose Baez is Shanna Gardner's attorney. Kouri Richins. Kouri Richins. Oh, hey, Lord Pissa. Good to see you, honey bunny. Kouri Richins is a mama from Utah. She we'll kind of do like a road thus far. Oh, hi Mary. Good to see you, beautiful girl. Kouri Richins. Kouri Richins is a Utah mom who had a husband who was very successful in landscaping. They had two little boys. They have two little boys. What does this say? Yes, Bashar is from the region. Oh, right. So Shanna Gardner, we'll throw Kouri Richins on the back burner here for a second. So Shanna Gardner is also from Utah, and her parents are very well off, like very well off. They own like a crafty MLM, I think, right? And so she comes from money, and she lives in Florida, and the whole crime, I believe, went down in Florida. She was also cheating on her husband, or her ex-husband was married again, I believe. That was the case. And he had additional kids too, and he was marked on a visitation as far as I can remember. We'll have to do that case too. That case is wild, just like this one. Kouri Richins. She had like the life that most women in Utah, anywhere really, they want. They want the white picket fence, the two kids, the husband that is successful, and all of these things. Well, that wasn't good enough for Miss Richins. Kouri Richins is accused and charged with the unaliving of her husband due to fent poisoning. Now, I know that most of my chat knows this case, so I'm not going to go all the way far back. I'm actually just going to move on from updates from here forward. What does Christine say? I want to see how the defense defines the walk the dog letter. Yes, girl. So this guy's smuggling. Yes. She was asking her previous lawyer, Sky Lazaro, who frequents actually the YouTube streets on different true crime programs. Sky Lazaro, there's a walk the dog letter that they found, and it's not looking good for Kouri. Although there has been some withheld evidence supposedly recently that we're waiting for the state responses to, because so she was accused of poisoning her husband with a Moscow Mule, but now it was like a lemon jello shot or something that she put in a load of Fent into said shot or drank Moscow Mule. And her story is that one of her kids, they were celebrating and they had a drink or a shot. That's still in the jury. He took a shot or he drank a Moscow Mule, and then everybody went to bed. And when Kouri woke up and went from her son's room into the marital bedroom, she found her husband cold and already of the non-living. But it is said that, the stamping up. You're right. Shanna Garden, the stamping up. Absolutely. I believe the rug dealer changed his story because he doesn't want to catch. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's definitely a thing now, right? They're going after rug dealers that are selling. I have so many opinions about this, though. And he's saying that he was selling blues, right? Blue 30s. But unless he knows for a fact that those pills came out of a pharmacy and he went and got said pills and brought them out of the pharmacy, there's nothing that says that those pills weren't pressed with fentanyl, right? There's no way of telling. A lot of things these days are pressed with fent, and the littlest bit can off you. Do you know that Kouri Richins, I don't know if I heard this. It's like, I'm like today years old when I heard this. She said, I want the stuff that did in Michael Jackson. That was an anesthetic, I believe, like an anesthesia drug, propofol, which they give you when you have different procedures. It's to kind of make you in La La Land. It can kill you. But she was looking for that. I mean, she's a sick puppy. So fast forward, husband dies. It's this big, oh, my husband's gone. She had it kind of pulled a Lori Vallow, where she thought that she was the beneficiary of his life insurance policies. And it turns out that there had been an attempt on his life before this. And he thought that Kouri was after him and thought that someone was trying to, and so he put all of his life insurance policies in his sister's name. And Kouri did not find this out until after the unaliving, until after he was gone. And she called the insurance companies like, hey, I'm the wife. He died. I get all the insurance money. And joke was on her because it went to his sisters. Okay, so that's another thing. Another with Lori Vallow and Charles and all of that. I mean, I know you guys probably followed the Lori Vallow. I remember Nate Eaton hauling ass to Hawaii to get Chad and Lori and like, where are your kids? And they're just like in like Delulu land, just like going about their life. They're just doing their thing. Sorry if you guys can hear Kung Fu Panda. He is playing with his cousins on the bed. So anyway, so I wasn't going to go all the way back in the Kouri Richins story because I'm guaranteed if you guys are watching me, you probably follow the story anyway. It's not going to be a whole long live, but we'll get through this. And I have one other thing. It's a Massachusetts case. It is a human trafficking story that we'll do after to close it out. So let's go ahead and add this to stage.
Richins be set free both now and for good? We got to talk about the defense that prosecutors failed to not only turn over evidence, but evidence that allegedly clears her of the murder of her husband, Eric. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. is major win. That is quite a statement. It is quite a statement since we always talk about the mounting evidence against her, against this wife accused of poisoning her husband. Well, it may all center around a key witness. Okay. Richins is accused of murdering her husband, Kouri Richins, back in March of 2022. That she spiked his drink, a Moscow Mule, with fentanyl the night of his death. And when I say that there is mounting evidence, what do I mean? So she allegedly told authorities that she found her husband unresponsive at the foot of the bed when she woke up at 3 a.m. But Eric apparently now she's accused of murdering Eric. So yeah, all of that is not great. That's a sampling of the evidence that prosecutors seem to have against her. And she's facing multiple counts, including murder, financial crimes.
Oh my
God.
God.
There is one other key piece of evidence. One other key piece of evidence
Don't
that
mind
may
me, I'm
tie
new
all
here.
of this together. And the update I want to talk about right now is whether it jeopardizes the whole case. Because here's the question. Where would Kouri Richins have gotten the drugs from, right? Where would she have gotten the fentanyl? Well, prosecutors say.
Okay, so let's go up to here. Okay, so they're saying the whole thing was she owns a real estate company, like Kouri Richins LLC. Okay, and she was taking loans out without her husband's approval and forging his signature. So she has not only murder charges, she also has like forging documents and like she was writing that like $36,000 worth of checks to herself. Okay. She was doing a whole like crime operation. All right. And against her said husband. So she has these house cleaners that I'm assuming clean her personal house and the houses to get ready for them to be sold. And so she asked her housekeeper if she knew where she could get the stuff, the propofol, right? Well, she couldn't get that. She could only get the fent. The housekeeper ratted out the rug dealer. Okay. And the rug dealer said previously that he sold Kouri or the housekeeper fentanyl. Okay. Now he's coming back saying, no, I didn't sell fent. I sold Oxy 30s, blues, if you will. Back in my generation, that's what they were called, blues, right? So he's saying, no, I didn't sell F because that could be an attempted murder charge on him. He's saying, no, I only sold them Oxycontin or oxycodone, right? But there was no oxycodone found in the husband's system, only fentanyl. Okay. Only fentanyl is in the husband's system. So they did not find any Oxy.
About this. According to a search warrant affidavit, quote, Lauber admitted to supplying Kouri Richins with 15 to 30 fentanyl pills on 2 separate occasions, approximately 1 month before Eric's death. She stated Kouri paid her approximately $900 each time she supplied the pills. She provided details of the solicitation of the drugs. The pickup operated with digital forensic evidence. So, slam dunk, right? All well and good for the prosecution? Not quite. No. Here's the problem. Richins' defense team, they are now arguing that, wait a second, Lauber allegedly says she got the pills from a guy named Robert Crozier, but he denies doing this, that he sold Lauber Oxycontin, not fentanyl. That the only Crozier allegedly recanted his previous statement. So according to NBC, he allegedly had said back in 2023 that he sold Lauber fentanyl. And when asked now, why did you change your story? Crozier allegedly said he doesn't remember what he said, and he was.
I find this to be extremely convenient that now it's coming to the wire of Kouri Richins going to trial, and then all of a sudden he was detoxing and doesn't know what he said, when it was corroborated by digital evidence that he was meeting the housekeeper and giving her fent, and it was found in Eric's system, but now he sold Oxy and it was not in Eric's system. But unless you get this pill directly from a pharmacy, you do not know what it is pressed with, or if it is even blues, right? 30 milligram Oxycontins. You don't know that. You don't know what you're buying unless you're getting it directly from a pharmacy. You have no idea what you're buying. Nothing. You have zero idea what you're buying. I have so many questions.
Sober. According to his affidavit, Crozier says on May 4th, 2023, I had been in jail for a short time and was detoxing from drug use. I do not have any personal recollection of the details of that interview, although I have since been told that I agreed that I had sold fentanyl. Affidavits he told who he thought were prosecutors in a meeting in April of 2025 that this wasn't true. Quote, Mr. Bloodworth and the other individual asked me if I had sold fentanyl to Carmen Lauber. I told them no. I sold Oxycontin to Carmen Lauber on 2 occasions in early 2022. I told them that I met her at the Maverick in Draper both times to sell her the pills. I told them that I was certain that I had sold Carmen Lauber Oxycontin 30 milligram pills, otherwise known as Roxy's or Roxy 30s. They asked me several times if I was sure, and I told them yes, I was sure I sold her Oxycontin. So in other words, interview him in April that is the allegation. The defense filing states the prosecution has been aware of this exculpatory evidence since April of this year, meaning evidence to show that the defendant is not guilty. The prosecution did not inform the defense of this information. No press release was issued, no reports, nothing. The prosecution just kept quiet. Let me say this real quick. Even if you're not staying on top of what's going on in this world is so important. And the defense claims that the only reason they found out about all of this is because they interviewed Crozier last month. And here's the big idea, as laid out by the defense in court documents. Here, the prosecution failed to disclose evidence that not only negates Miss Richins' guilt, but completely eviscerates the prosecution's own theory that Miss Richins procured the fentanyl that ultimately killed her husband. The prosecution's failure to disclose and continued concealment of exculpatory evidence that Miss Richins did not procure fentanyl and inflict ongoing harm on Miss Richins, the public, and the integrity of our legal system. This is precisely the type of this evidence. The prosecution abandons its duty to seek justice and undermines the assurance of a fair trial. The defense goes on to say, quote, if the state cannot place fentanyl in the hands of the defendant, the state has no case. Mr. Crozier's statement doesn't just poke holes in their case, it throws a grenade into the middle of it, leaving them nothing but speculation and conjecture, getting them nowhere near the realm of beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, in one filing, they're asking...
Okay, so do you guys believe that so if they cannot place fentanyl in Kouri Richins' hands, that they have no case? Because I just said it. Like, just because this guy thought that he was selling OC30s does not mean that that's what he got. He might believe that, wait a minute, no, like I sold her something, but it wasn't that. He could really believe that because he thought that that's what he was buying, right? Does not mean that he did not get press fent. So I've been seeing a ton of creators on here like freaking out about the fact that, like, oh my god, she's gonna get off, she's gonna do this, she's gonna do that. No, she's not. No, she's not, because they maybe they can't prove, they can't put the fent in her hands, but they cannot guarantee that what she bought was not press fent, right? So there's still a case to be had. This is the same woman who, after Eric passed, by fent poisoning, she made a children's book to comfort her children from losing their father. What kind of psychopath does that? Only a psychopath does that. She's a sick puppy. She's a sick individual. Okay. Sick.
The court to issue an order for the prosecution to deliver to the defense all evidence like texts, emails, recordings of any correspondence between the prosecution, the police, and Crozier, any notes discussing him, anything that negates Richins' guilt. But you also have to imagine, is this such a... I'll talk about that. By the way, they also make a motion for the judge to reconsider bail, which has been denied in this case multiple times. We're going to talk about that too. So what exactly is going on here, right? Well, let me bring on an expert. We are joined by Jeremy Diaz, criminal defense attorney, former Salt Lake County Assistant District Attorney, ADA. Thank you so much for coming on, Jeremy. It's really good to see you. Let me just start here. What do you make of the fact that Crozier apparently has a change in his account? Can we start?
Entirely common for stories to change, but to change this substantially, I mean, it's for this case, it's a pretty big deal, I think.
It's such a big deal that, let me start here, even before the allegation that the prosecution, hid evidence. If this is true, okay, and he supplied oxy and not fentanyl, is that the end of the case? I mean, can they prove that Kouri Richins killed her husband?
I don't know if it's necessarily the end of the case, because they're different, they're inconsistent statements, right? But at the same time, it doesn't help. And I think as a prosecutor, I would view it as a serious blow to the case as a whole.
Yeah, because if Carmen Lauber says, I don't really know what I was assumed it was fentanyl, saying I gave oxy, toxicology reports that Eric had found in the system, and they can't directly clear Kouri from. For prosecutor, do they change their case? Do they still call him to the stand? Do they still call Carmen Lauber to the stand? Do they forget about where she got the fentanyl pills from, allegedly? I mean, how does this change the whole prosecution's case?
Remember, you still have the fact that, according to Carmen, Kouri asked Carmen to get her fentanyl, right? So as a defense, you still have that to deal with. And as a prosecutor, you still have that kind of in your pocket. Why is Kouri asking for fentanyl in general? So, I mean, even though alleged this Carmen to Robert, back to Carmen, and then back to Kouri, that whole thing, that may have fallen apart.
Hey, Kelly girl.
what the state certainly doesn't have is any sort of new, I guess, bridge to the fentanyl. But there's still the fact that, according to Carmen, Kouri, and it's depending on what side you're on, you have arguments to make.
But by the way, we're also making this argument assuming he's telling the truth now, right? Is he the most credible witness? He may have actually given fentanyl. We don't know.
So there are a lot of things that you look at when you're weighing credibility, right? And really, what is one of the things you look at is, what is the motive here? What's the motive to lie?
Well,
what's the motive to change?
I'm going to pause this for a second. So, as a lot of you guys may know, distributing fent can get you a manslaughter charge. So maybe, I don't know how it is in, hi Wayne, never alive without you, honey bunny. So, you know, is he in regret, like, oh, I thought I was doing the right thing, you know, by saying like, yeah, she asked me for this, but now am I going to get in trouble? Like, does he think that he's going to get a manslaughter charge? What exactly is his angle? Because we all know there's an angle. There's an angle with him recanting what he originally said. And I'm sorry, I don't buy the whole like I was dope sick or whatever. Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it, sir. Hi, Dave from the Laborers Union. Hi, honey. It's good to see you. I don't buy it. I don't buy. And listen, I'm not going to name names of creators, but they were like, this is over. How dare the prosecution withhold evidence? Listen, I am all for both sides of the aisle, both sides, defense and prosecution, turning over everything they have. We all met through the Free Care and Read movement, and we would say it about the Commonwealth. With that, like, why can't you just turn everything over? Just turn everything over, right? And so, do I think that it's shady? Oh, hey, Stacy, it's good to see you, mama girl. Do we know, like, because like I said, even if you're okay, so say if like this guy isn't like your papi chulo from the bodega that you're getting your good stuff off of, maybe he's just like an up and coming drug dealer, right? Maybe he doesn't know his product, right? So how many drug dealers do you know don't sell what they're saying they're selling you, right? Like, how many times, or maybe he was a user and saw a way to make a couple of bucks, and to get pressed fent is a lot cheaper than a 30 oxy, right? F selling should be attempted. Yes, absolutely. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that is the thing now. So if you're caught selling fentanyl, you can get an attempted murder charge. You can. Point blank, you can in some states. I don't know about Utah though. So did he have instant regret? Like, shit, am I going to get in trouble? Like, if I say that I sold that killed somebody, am I gonna get a murder charge now too? So he's walking it back, right? I was sick. I was dope sick. I'm not buying it, kids. I'm not buying it. Do I think the state, if they knew about this, should get reprimanded? Yes, definitely. Even if she gets away, right. They have all of her financial crimes. Wayne, exactly. She has all of her financial crimes. She literally wrote nearly $40,000 in bad checks to herself. Just $40,000. Return never paid. It's literally down there. I love my Clipsos. My Dave from the Laborers Union. All right, let's keep going, kids. I'm not feeling too hot tonight. I gotta take some medicine.
Story. And I that's going to be something that's going to be hard to kind of argue against as a prosecutor here.
Amen.
Certainly, like I said, another feather in the cap for the defensive team.
Yeah.
Did the prosecution violate the rules regarding turning over material to the defense, turning over material that is potentially exculpatory, material that negates a defendant's guilt? What is the standard, and did they violate it?
Man, and that's hard because it's a bit of a gray area. I think that it's certainly poor form. When I was a prosecutor, as you mentioned, I was a prior prosecutor. The hope is that as a approach, so the hope would have been when they had the conversation with Robert Crozier, that they would have disclosed that conversation with the defense. The fact that the defense is just hearing about that, according to the defense team in September, from April to September, by my math, that's 5 months. And they handle a big thing. Again, clear, this is a big deal. The fact that he was not the person who gave fentanyl him is a big deal. That's something that I think should be back as soon as possible in April. I mean, you would certainly think and hope that a prosecutor on the drive back to the office after meeting in
too. I'm gonna stop it because I have thoughts. Like, if we're gonna say that Lally should have been turning everything over and not pulling the oop-de-oop on the defense, and we have to be fair for everything, why didn't the prosecution in the Kouri Richins trial get that information and turn it over right away? There's an angle there too. What, like, did they think that this wasn't going to come out? That the defense wasn't going to depose this man who says that he sold someone fent for her because they have a connection? Do I think that she asked for it? Absolutely, I do. Do I think that this kid, two things can be true at the same time. Do I think that this kid thinks that he sold blues? Yeah, he probably does. He probably didn't realize that everything was being pressed with fent at the time. Maybe he says, okay, so I bought a handful of blues and I was trying to get, so I just like quickly sold them, and oh, you know, it wasn't fent, it was blues, but I don't really know who I got them from, so it could be like, it is so messy. Yeah. And the prosecution kept this from the defense, and there's an angle as to why they could fumble the entire case with this type of behavior. Right? How old is I don't know. He's never been shown on camera or ever said who he was. I know the housekeeper who asked him for Kouri, she's in her 30s. Right, Mary. It doesn't matter. They have to hand over everything, whether it's detrimental to their case or not. This is the shit that makes people fumble. Right. Amen. I agree. Dude, this is like the best Red Bull ever. It's zero sugar pink edition for not that I'm a Red Bull sponsor, but it's so good, and it's for breast cancer for the month of October. Love it. Hey Rosie, how you doing, babe? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Not a problem. This is what the witness is telling us now. You may want to have somebody go out and reach out to him and kind of interview him. And one of the things that kind of surprises me here is that the prosecution team didn't themselves send out an investigator to kind of get this new information and somehow get it to the defense team. There is an element of timeliness as far as disclosure. They don't necessarily have to disclose it immediately, but they do have to disclose it timely. So whether or not they're kind of in this little bit of a gray area, I mean, it's September. They still haven't disclosed it to the defense team. They're set for trial in February. I just that it hadn't been disclosed.
Well, that's the point. When the defense comes out and says the only reason we found out about this is because we interviewed him ourselves and found out,
right.
What would be the defense for the prosecution?
It's making you look
I think this is
bad.
something that the defense mentioned in their filing. that what's the prosecution going to argue? That it was an oversight? Is that the argument from the prosecutors? Hey, we didn't deliberately withhold evidence.
100.
This was an oversight of some way. We were trying to corroborate it, but is it even their responsibility to corroborate it, or is it just to turn it over to the defense immediately? I mean, it seems like this was a mistake. This was an oversight. It wasn't intentional. That would be the prosecution's defense here, right?
Well, I mean, it would have to be. It would have to be, look, it was just an oversight, but at the same time, that is a big oversight, right? I mean, that's some pretty critical evidence when as it relates to this case. I would think that if we were busy, we weren't sure how reliable it was. But I mean, even at that, when it comes down to
pausing this because this is what we do here. We speculate and judge. I am judging the prosecution. If that is not an oversight, they've known about this for months. And it didn't even so much as cross their mind that one of their main witnesses to her purchasing the Fent said, no, actually it wasn't. That isn't on the forefront of your brain to bring to the defense and say, hey, we have a recount. Listen, it doesn't mean that it's going to change anything, because I don't think that it's going to. And I think Kouri's going to spend a very long time in prison. She pulled a Brian Walsh and looked up the poshest prisons in Utah. She did. The audacity of her. What's the poshest women prison in Utah? She was expecting to get caught. But like the prosecution did they think that was such a big deal that they kept it from the defense? Because that seems like something that you wouldn't forget as a defense, as a prosecutor. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Seems like something you'd remember.
Liability, that shouldn't necessarily be the prosecutor's decision to make. That's something that should be made after having disclosed.
That I am curious, different scenario, but if you remember what happened in the Alec Baldwin case, there was a serious issue about evidence being turned over to the defense where his case was dismissed. I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe that's what happened. Is that something that this is an injustice? Kouri Richins' rights were violated. I am dismissing this case. Is that an actual consequence if the prosecution, really violated their duty?
I think it's possible. I think it probably has to be more egregious, at least the violation, in order to get to that point. But I mean, it's on the table. I just don't think it's likely.
What could be a punishment for the prosecution?
That part, Kelly, that part.
It's going to be interesting to see on the table for that.
What about agreeing with the defense? Prosecutors, you got to turn over all this evidence. So not only evidence that would negate Kouri Richins' guilt, which obviously they should be turning over anyway, but every correspondence regarding Crozier, everything regarding him. Do you think?
Look it up. Wait. Let me put my whole. Wait, I'm sorry, not Patrick. Wayne. Her mother killed her female lover in an overdose way and got away with it. So wait, Kouri Richins' mother? Wait, what? Oh, I love that, Callie. Yes. I love that. I love hearing survivor stories. You know what? Like, cancer is scary. It's scary for everybody involved. It's but remember Betty, I'll put the link. I got to find it in the chat. Or Makings, you have a wrench. Can you put it in the chat? You can donate to breast cancer, women fighting breast cancer. It helps pay bills, groceries, rent. Danny Wood from NO Lucas on the Block started it in the 90s. He actually posted this on social media, and I reshared it because it's absolutely amazing. And people who who donate their time and money to women going through cancer is I know from personal experience that it makes a world of difference when you have so much on your plate. And send my love to your Aunt Calypso. Yes, her mother's essay, a detoxing. Oh my God. Why didn't I know this? Oh my goodness.
I got some wood.
Really? Interesting. My God. What is happening in the true crime realm, kids? I don't even
request.
I think he will. It's not a guarantee that he will, but given the circumstances, given the whole high profile nature of the case, I think he will order that.
Will that delay this case? I mean, her trial's scheduled for February. Does this now put a wrench in all of this?
It's possible. It depends on, number one, how quickly it takes the prosecutor's office to get the defense team the discovery and what the defense team's able to do with it once they get it. How long does it take them to fully review and fully vet any new information?
As we're going through this, I'm thinking, if now the prosecution is struggling to prove that she got those pills from Carmen Lauber and Robert Crozier, if they can't establish that, how do they prove the pills were in her possession? I mean, A, does that show a weakness in the investigation? Can they not pinpoint another alternative by which she would have gotten those pills? Because they have to establish, I think, in some way, where did she get them from? Otherwise, that's something the defense is going to jump on in an opening statement, a closing argument during the course of the trial.
Wow.
If they can't establish that, does that show a weakness, a gap in the investigation?
So I don't know if it's enough to necessarily get the case thrown out. Remember, circumstantial cases is how strong is that circumstantial case? It's absolutely weaker with Robert Crozier's disclosures that he never gave fentanyl, but the prosecutor still has the fact, according to Carmen Lauber, that Kouri was asking for fentanyl. So you have Eric
Drew K in the
fentanyl.
house.
You have Kouri asking for fentanyl. You still have that to use as evidence. And is your case weaker without that bridge that shows this is where she got the fentanyl from? Yeah, it's weaker. But at the same time, it's still something that they potentially go forward on. But yes, you're right. It is a weaker case because they can't point to the distribution route that it took, that Kouri allegedly took to get the fentanyl.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Here,
I mean,
okay?
I know
I
that like if there's
defense's...
like a lawyer talking head saying this right now, that like it's a weaker case, but is it though? Is it?
No.
I mean, I guess it's like worse because there isn't like a definitive like I gave her the fent, but they can use his previous statements as like, why did you change a couple of months before trial? This is what you've been saying all along. I think this happened in 2023. Drew Cray, my beautiful girl, welcome in.
I'm about to die.
I just don't think that it. I do not see her getting off on the Schmurder charge, because the rug dealer said that he didn't give her fentanyl. Like, I just don't see that happening. Not even like a little bit. Not even like a little bit.
Motion for the court to reconsider it and for Richins to be released in light of this development, because again, she has been denied bail.
Oh yeah, she wants
so
to be
far.
released.
So they cite in their filing how under Utah law, an individual charged with or arrested for a criminal offense shall be admitted to bail as a matter of right, except if the individual is charged with a felony when there is substantial evidence to support the charge and the court finds substantial danger or the individual is likely to flee. Quote, although the court has found that there is substantial evidence to support the charges against Ms. Richins, Mr. Crozier's recantation of his previous statement changed changes the landscape to a degree that can not be ignored. In order to continue to hold Miss Richins without bail, the court must first find that there is some keeper, Carmen Lauber, which she caused to be unwillingly ingested by her husband in some this, but only the statements of Carmen Lauber. And these statements are wholly dependent on whether or not Lauber procured fentanyl from Robert Crozier.
I'm muted. Crisis averted. I caught myself. Patrick, I think what happened was there's a law, and I have to look. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to get back to you guys because I'll have to like deep dive because this is just. Does Utah have the rule that if you are caught selling fent, that you get the schmurder charge too? Is that a thing in Utah? Because he's been saying all along that he sold Carmen, the housekeeper, fentanyl because that's what Kouri asked for. Right. So I maybe he thinks that he's gonna get hemmed up too. That's very possible. I don't know. Oh yeah, I heard that. We're gonna get like crazy winds and like wild rain and all the things. I'm here for it. I like rainstorms. Like thunder and lightning is probably my favorite. I love it. I love it. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just think, wouldn't you think that he get immunity though? Wouldn't they have offered immunity? Like, hey, if you say like that you got the fent for Kouri Richins, we'll give you a deal. I don't know.
None of these so-called fentanyl pills were found nor tested. Lauber only believed she sold Kouri fentanyl because she believed that is what Crozier gave her. If Robert Crozier did not, in fact, sell fentanyl to Lauber, there can be no credible argument that substantial evidence of guilt exists. And they argue that she should be released. Good argument.
It's multi-pronged, right? The first thing that the judge has to find, like you just read,
I really
is that there's
like the
substantial
judge in
evidence
this
to
case.
support the charges. The prosecutor's office, when they've gone through and they've argued their motion to hold without bail up to this point, they've had this distribution bridge.
Oh, happy
with
birthday, little
what
makings.
Mr. Crozier has come out and said that he never sold fentanyl to Miss Lauber. With that statement, it destroys the distribution bridge. And so it does cut against the substantial evidence nature of the case. And I think the defense argument is a good argument, and I think it's sound.
Let me ask you this. Apparently, the Summit County pending matters that it's going to respond in the public record in 14 days as allowed under the court rules. Is that
defense team? I mean, like we've already talked about it. It is a big deal that the prosecutor's office
They
learned
were a
about this
beautiful
kind of
family.
recantation, this changing of events of saying that he did not sell Miss Lauber fentanyl, but that he sold her OxyContin. It's a big deal, and it opens the door.
and real quick, big picture, she can't definitively prove how she got the pills, and they can't definitively prove when or how she allegedly put it into this Moscow Mule. You think they still can get a conviction based on the circumstances of his death, her statements, her behavior, the life insurance, based on everything else they may have?
I think it's a possibility. How likely the possibility? I don't know. That's going to be something that the prosecution team is going to have to evaluate. Remember, you just listed off a whole bunch of evidence, and even though they don't have the foreshore distribution chain, reached out to Miss Lauber and asked her to get fentanyl. All we know is that the distribution route didn't come through Miss Lauber. That's the only thing that we know. But the prosecutor's office still has everything that you just mentioned as far as being able to sit in front of the jury. They know that he overdosed on it.
Yep, that's a good point. This is an interesting development. We wanted to cover it. We've been focusing on Kouri Richins for quite some time. I think this is significant. Jeremy Diaz, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to see you.
So that is Kouri Richins. That's where we are. I believe her trial is set for February of 2026. I plan on covering that here. I don't know about every day, but I plan on covering that trial from A to Z. She should give up. Right. I agree, Patrick. Right. Yes, absolutely. So before we head out, and I get Kung Fu Panda to bed, we'll be back here on Sunday, obviously at 10 a.m. And we're going to go over the Lizzie Borden house. So I hope you guys will all join me for that. And also, if you're watching here or on X, come over to YouTube, Unsolved with Amy Boston. Make sure you're subscribed and like the video. Right. So this one is fresh out of Massachusetts. It is from a YouTube creator, Tyson Dela Cruz. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to the video inside the chat so you guys can go over and sub to him. He has a lot of Massachusetts cases. This right here is a human trafficking case, and it's pretty interesting. Call it snitching or whatever. Right. I get it, Patrick. Same. Dude, my nephew is a sophomore in high school, and like I remember being a sophomore in high school, and like, but he just seems so young, and the stuff that he knows is mind-blowing. Like he's like, I'm afraid to try anything. He's like, it could be laced with fentanyl, and then what? The fact that like I love that he knows that at such a young age. Like he's not even willing to like to try anything makes my heart sting. But like the stuff that he has to know, it's really scary. And I know you know that being a father. Yes. We're going to do one more video. Tyson Dela Cruz on YouTube. Go over there and give him a sub. We're going to go over a human trafficking
parlors are shut down. Police suspect the businesses are fronts for human trafficking.
America, we just uncovered a massive human trafficking network operating in plain sight in Methuen, Massachusetts. 5 massage parlors, all fronts for forced prostitution and human slavery. Women were being bussed in from New York, New Jersey, forced to live in basements and work 12-hour days, 7 days a week. But here's what's going to make your blood boil. Neighbors were reporting suspicious activity for 2 years before police finally acted.
Go over and give Tyson Dela Cruz a sub.
Say
he has really good content.
The manager of the spa, a 38-year-old Zhu Ping Zhu of New York. She is accused of human trafficking. Methuen's police chief says a lengthy investigation was
abiding citizens get ignored by their own government. This is what happens when you prioritize political correctness. Wow. This wasn't some random crime. This was an organized trafficking network with a clear business model. Women were being transported by bus from New York and New Jersey, housed basement living quarter. Location busted was Beauty Garden Spa on Wallace Street, where investigators found 2 women living in the basement under the most exploitable conditions imaginable.
The Methuen Department of Health and Human Services inspections immediately ordered the business closed.
But this was Eastern Bodywork Therapy.
So here in Massachusetts, in the Methuen area, which is up near the New Hampshire border, there was 5 or 6 massage parlors closed down, and people have been complaining for years. Yeah, Drew K, exactly. Exactly. People have been complaining for years that they have been seeing women being bussed in to these massage parlors and bussed out, and new people all the time. And they were calling the federal government, they were calling local authorities, and nothing happened until recently.
That's 5 trafficking operations in one small city of 50,000 people. Think about those numbers for a second.
3 more day spas are shuttered
I would
tonight.
guess so,
the city
Patrick,
posting
yeah.
cease and desist notices on the doors at the Yellow Lily Spa and Lavender Spa on Baldwin Street and Oriental Spa Inc.
The coordination between these operations was sophisticated. Su Ping Zhu hung from Brooklyn, who was allegedly managing the other. This crosses state lines with coordination between multiple cities. This is interstate organized crime disguised as massage. While we're talking about criminals exploiting vulnerable people who can't protect themselves, there's another area where people are getting taken advantage of all the time. Medicare. If you're 65 or older, you know how many people are trying to exploit you. She documented out-of-state cars bringing supplies and leaving women behind. She saw men of all ages frequenting these locations at all hours of the day, and she reported it all to police.
There were women coming in and out on buses from New York and New Jersey, coming through on buses with luggage.
But it took 2 years for police to act on clear evidence of human trafficking. 2 failure that destroys citizens' trust in law enforcement. Beth did everything right. She observed, documented, reported, but the system failed her and failed those victims.
Investigators say the credit goes to alert neighbors who've been complaining about the illegal activity. The manager of Beauty Garden Spa now faces criminal charges related to trafficking and prostitution.
Response is just part of the problem. These operations were violating multiple codes and regulations that should have been caught. The city found unlicensed business activity, evidence of unlawful habitation, code violations, unpermitted construction, and unsanitary conditions. How do you miss all this during routine inspections?
But they're also identified.
Right. Well, the thing is too, can we just, I'm not even gonna put myself back on camera. Can we just say this happens all the time, and people from the Board of Health and everything can get paid off. You don't know what connections this lady had. And she's just the scapegoat. She's probably not even the top of the chain. There was a place in Quincy I went to, and it was busted. I told my wife I was pissed. Look at Patrick. Stop it.
Very concerning indicators of suspected human trafficking.
Commercial spaces were being used for residential purposes in violation of zoning laws. This should have been caught by building inspectors, fire marshals, and the health department. Where was the oversight here? Think about the room. But human traffickers can convert commercial business competence at its finest. The health department finally stepped in and found unlicensed activity and unsanitary conditions.
Drew K.
But where were they the past 2 years while neighbors were reporting suspicious activity? Now let's talk about what these women endured, because this isn't some victimless crime that progressives like to pretend prostitution is. These women were transported across multiple state lines, housed in basement quarters, and forced into actual services.
They also found computers, phones, and business records that tie into the investigation.
The advertisements here were so blatant: friendly, sweet, gorgeous Asian staff asking, "Are you looking for a truly satisfying place?" This wasn't subtle. This was open advertising for section. Beth completely understood what was happening. We yelled at the telling them these women are being trafficked.
Years.
She recognized that these weren't willing participants in some business transaction. These were victims of modern slavery.
They got.
And you know what, too? Listen, this is where the problem lies, right? They're like, oh, it's a victimless crime. No, it's not. No, it's not. Listen, there was a girl I knew from around the way. She was mixed up in a lot of stuff. Okay. And she was at South Station, met somebody, got into a car with them, and wasn't seen for 3 months. She ended up in hotel rooms, held against her own will, fed her addiction, and she ended up coming back because she hitched a ride with like a truck driver back to Massachusetts. She was in DC at one point. So people are like, oh, no, there are women being held against their will at these places, especially if they're undocumented, immigrants coming over here. And this lady's like, oh, I'll pay for your visa, but you have to come in and do for me. Like those SVU episodes that you see, that shit is real. That shit really happens. There may be people who are willingly doing it, which I don't think any of it's willing, but who am I? I have my opinions about it. Like, I don't think that women do that because they want to. I'm just going to say it. And there are women who get stolen, who get taken against their will and get put up in places like that because they have to do one, they have to survive, right? You're in survival mode, or you come from a different country and you have to pay people back. Like that is real. That is so real. And these stories make me so sad because you don't know how many of those women were held against their will.
Think about the logistics of this operation. Buses bringing women from New York and New Jersey, living quarters set up and were treated like inventory in a criminal enterprise. The police chief finally acknowledged what should have been obvious from the beginning. These women are victims, not criminals.
It appears to be another massage parlor. As Paul Burton shows us, 2 women were found living in the basement of another massage parlor over the week.
Human trafficking networks. We're about low criminal, about interstate organized crime with management structures, transportation, logistics, real estate operations. Su Ping Zhu from Flushing, New York was arrested and charged with multiple counts, including human trafficking. But they're still hunting for Yi Yu Hung from Brooklyn, showing this network spans multiple states and cities.
6-year-old Yi Yu Hong of Brooklyn.
We want to say to them running these operations, and we know that there are others operating now within the city of Methuen, we want them to know that we're coming for them next.
These criminals were making serious money off of human suffering. And here's what's particularly disturbing. The mayor admits there are other operations still running in the city. After busting 5 locations, they know that there are more. How many trafficking operations?
Plain sight in a community like Methuen, I bet you it's happening in a lot of other places, and folks either don't know about it or they know about it and they're not doing anything about it.
Now let's connect this to the bigger picture. Massachusetts has been rolling out the welcome mat for anyone claiming to need help, and criminals took advantage. When you can't enforce immigration law consistently, you create environments where human traffickers thrive. These Trafficking networks exploited culture connections and language barriers
This is
to control
in
their
Methuen,
victims.
Massachusetts.
Women who didn't
There was
speak
6
English,
massage
didn't know their
parlors.
rights, didn't
Hold
know
on,
how
let
to
me put
get
this
help.
on.
Traffickers
I'm
used
talking over homeboy, which is fine. It's just reactionary videos. I think that's like my niche. I like reactionary videos. This is in Methuen, Massachusetts. There was 6 massage parlors closed that have been neighbors have been complaining for the past 2 years, saying that it was a human trafficking ring because they were bussing people in and bussing them out, bussing new girls in, bussing them out. Yeah, it's a $1 billion industry. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Sex sells. Okay. But I'm gonna go on a limb here and say most of these women do not want to be doing this. And it is against their will, one way or another. I hate these
immigration status as leverage, cooperate, or we'll have you deported. This is why we need clear immigration enforcement that protects victims while prosecuting criminals. But sanctuary state policies make it harder to investigate these networks because authorities are afraid of being accused of targeting immigrant communities. That we're seeing here, Sue Ping, who Ying from Brooklyn. These aren't isolated criminals. They're part of established networks in immigrant communities that law enforcement has been hesitant to investigate thoroughly.
Night, 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock, I think. But at the end of the day, they didn't worry about being caught.
These traffickers basically
I didn't.
operated
I'll
with
have to
impunity
go back and watch it.
because they knew the political climate made sanctuary policies created an environment where immigration-related crimes weren't aggressively prosecuted. Now let's talk about how these trafficking operations destroy communities. When human trafficking networks set up shop in your neighborhood, property values drop, families move away, and legitimate suffer. Neighbors to live next to a consistent stream of customers and the knowledge that women were being enslaved in their community.
You saw people bringing food supplies in, and I mean, it was pretty blatant.
Next up, the city
God,
says the
that's awful.
conversation needs to focus on the Johns and landlords.
The economic impact goes beyond property values. These criminal enterprises don't pay property taxes, don't follow laws, and undercut legitimate business. Taxpayers are now investigating and prosecuting the problem years ago. The going after these landlords 2 years ago.
J. Beauregard declaring a war on human trafficking in the city, issuing this warning saying we will identify and apprehend traffickers, shut down every business in Methuen that profits from this evil, and hold landlords accountable if they harbor them.
Now, here's something that I can actually agree with local authorities on. They're forced to Johns, and that's exactly what needs to happen here. No demand, no supply. These trafficking operations exist because
they're trying to say no demand, no supply. There will always be demand and supply for this industry. Always. Okay. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it okay, but there will always be a need for it. And there will always be workers, whether it's against their will or not. Right. What's even worse is law enforcement busts these places. And then, right. Yes. Makings. Because they look at these women as criminals. I've worked in a lot. I worked in industries that I worked with a lot of workers at one point, and the stories that they have are absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm gonna go and say that even the girls who consent to do it or think that they're doing it for a need, right? For money. It's all very sad. Oh, very sad. And they're like, when there's no need for it, there's always going to be a need for it. And there's always going to be women forced into doing it for one reason or another.
Market for them. Start arresting the Johns and watch how quickly these operations disappear. Beth was right to shame the customers. She understood their shame-free participation in actual slavery. The mayor wants to release all the names of the customers, and I support that completely.
Always.
These men were participating in human trafficking, and they should face public consequences along with criminal charges.
Public
The mayor
lashing.
vowing to.
I'm all in favor, if I could, take whatever information we gather over time and release all of it.
Is everything wrong
There's nothing like a good public shaming.
with how we handle human trafficking in this country? We have sanctuary policies that make investigations difficult. We have regulatory agencies that miss obvious violations. We have police departments that take 2 years to act on clear evidence. And we have a culture that treats prostitution as victimless when it's actually modern slavery. Beth represents what's best about American citizens. She saw something wrong. She
Look at it for
documented
what it
She
actually is.
and she didn't give up, but the system failed those victims years. The good news is that when on these operations quickly, 5 trafficking operations busted weeds. What's possible? But here's the reality: as trafficking in Dorchester, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The message needs to be clear. If you're running a human trafficking operation, if you're renting property to traffickers, if you're buying X from trafficked women, there will be serious consequences. No more looking the other way. No more treating this as a regulatory issue instead of a serious crime. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like on.
Wait a minute. That's wild. That is wild. Was teaching pedophilia and how not to get. Come on, Wayne, you're lying. Yeah, I remember when the Quincy quarries got drained. I thought it was because of Jeffrey Curley. I could be wrong. Who's the girl they were looking for? So sad. I remember when they got drained. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I this is wild. Can we look? Hold on. I want to look it up. Hold on. Let's see. Is there a video on it? Yo, I might go live tomorrow because there's some other like random cases that I want to look at, like the Amish boy who Jeffrey was in. Okay. That's right. The Amish boy who killed the girl on his compound and is trying to say that he was coerced into admitting it because he goes by like, yeah, the Quincy quarries have stories. Absolutely. He was drowned in them, Rossi. Stop it. Hold on. What are we looking up? You said self-care, SC teaching. I see something here that says Texas teacher says that being a pedo is okay. Alleged predator. So close. Oh boy, I can't find it. I'm not gonna waste your time. I'll get into a rabbit hole. If I can find, if you have any clips on it, send it to unsolvedamyboston@gmail.com. I want to go live and go over the Amish kid. Taylor Shabusiness was back in court and she wants to be unshackled because she had an altercation with somebody in prison. The Amish kid that smothered the girl on the compound and thought that if he confessed to what he did, that he gets all absolved sin because of his Amish. He only knows the Amish way. And as long as you go to like the authorities and confess what you did, all is forgiven. He thought that that's how the English speaking world worked as well. Well, he was mistaken. There's that. There's a couple of other ones. You know what I really want to do? Have you guys ever gotten into the Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt story? No. Ruby Frankie had a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers, and come full circle, a few years later, she finds herself in prison for her radical beliefs. And that story absolutely fascinates me. I was thinking about covering that some night too. I'm not saying it was me, but I know a few. Yeah, absolutely. She is what nightmares are made of. Amy in the back seat. She is a nightmare. She just like the look on her face. Lights are on and no one's home. Jean-Benet, yes, we're doing that. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. I'm gonna do Jean-Benet Ramsey, and too. There's Madeline McCann. I would love to do her. Actually, a woman that was pretending to be Madeline McCann. She's older now, and she's like, I'm Madeline McCann. I need a DNA test. She's actually on trial right now in the UK, stalking and harassing the parent McCanns. So we can do that too. Yeah. Oh, and Natalie Holloway. Yes. I have all these written down, and we're going to every single one of them. I've just been doing kind of like updates with like cases that we've kind of touched on in the kind of the one-on. Definitely doing Jean-Benet, Natalie Holloway, the McCann girl, all of them. A former chosen magistrate judge was arrested as 25 in federal charges. Oh, Nosa. Oh, we might have to cover that too. Yes, you are absolutely. Oh, hi, Natalie. Mwah! Love you, girlfriend. Yeah, so we have all of these things to go all together, and we just kind of like talk it out and speculate. And what happened to like these missing children, right? Well, Jean-Benet, her killers ever been caught? Natalie Hollowell. Well, actually, the Vandersloot guy went to prison for her murder recently, right? In Florida, there's a trailer park that I've seen documentaries on it. Fucking crazy. Yes, Ellen girl, yes. There's new stuff coming out about her case right now, actually. I should throw her in the lineup for tomorrow if I do a I don't want to hold to it just in case I have something going on, but I might be able to do during the day. I'm taking Kung Fu Panda out for a date night tomorrow night. But yeah, so we'll do all of these cases, and we'll speculate and try to figure them out together. The human psyche, it fascinates me. Okay. And I definitely want to do the Ruby Frankie, because I believe that like there's like such extremists in every single culture that their story, her and Jody Hildebrandt, their story is like textbook religious zealots. It's wild. Yes, justice for Ellen Greenberg. Absolutely. Oh, we're gonna tackle that case as well. All right, guys. So if you guys are not subscribed, YouTube likes to unsubscribe people. Make sure you're subscribed. Like the video, comment under the video of different cases that you want us to cover here on Unsolved. And I will see you later. See ya.